Good morning, students. Welcome to the online class for Standard 10. We'll continue the oral comprehension questions from the chapter Long Walk to Freedom. So, let's see what the questions are. What do the military generals do? How has their attitude changed and why? So, as you know, after the independence of South Africa, the attitude of the military generals changed. So, and there was established some democracy, and they took place to be loyal to the government, which was elected fairly by the people. And let's see what they did. The military generals of South Africa saluted Nelson Mandela, who was the first black president who sworn as the first president of South Africa's free nation. And they placed their loyalty. They took place to be loyal to the government and to the president. And their attitude has changed because of the installation of free, democratic, non-racial government and abolishment of apartheid system. Otherwise, what they would have done? They would have arrested Nelson Mandela instead of saluting. So these are the answer. This is the answer of the first number. That because of the government which was fairly elected by the people, which was a democratic one, Nelson Mandela established or installed the democratic, a free democratic non-racial government, and the military generals who would have arrested him earlier because of treachery, because of his anti-government activities, they now saluted him and they took place to be loyal to him and his government. Now, question number 2. Why were the two national anthems sung? So, as I have told you in the chapter that there were two national anthems which was sung by the white people as well as the black people, and one was prevalent during the apartheid system and what was the native one. So, that is Long Live South Africa and the Voice of Die Stem, Voice of South Africa. And these two songs were sung together. And why? To mark equality and liberty for all. So, and Nelson Mandela says that it was the occasion of inauguration where these white people and the black people or the native people, both, they sang their song, and it marked the equality and liberty for the people. So they all are equal in the eyes of the nation. Third number, how does Mandela describe the systems of government in his country? First, in the first decade of 20th century, and second, in the final decade of the 20th century. As Nelson Mandela says that when he was born, so before him and during his life, so he saw the oppression of people. Okay, so in the first decade means 10 years. First 10 years of the 20th century, it saw the apartheid system, where Mandela describes it as the most inhuman and harshest society, as it erected a system of racial domination of white over the dark skinned people of their own country. So here it happened. So the society was, the basis of a society was formed where the people were tortured, where there was a domination of white people over the black, and there was a system of racial domination on the basis of their color, skin color. But the final decade of the 20th century, it saw the abolishment of that system. That system here refers to what? That policy of apartheid, that harshest and inhuman society. So it was abolished, it was erased from the history of South Africa, you can say, and it recognized, it gave recognition to the rights and freedom of all the people regardless of their color of the skin. So human dignity, and they were able to exercise their own right, so they could get freedom. So this is all about this question, that in the before the during the apartheid system in the first decade of 20th century, a society was formed where there was domination of white people over the black of their own country, and that it was the most one of the most inhuman and harshest society it formed. But during the last part of the century, so a system, a government was formed where everybody was treated equally. What does courage mean to Mandela? According to Mandela, courage is to risk and give one's life for an idea. And which is that idea? Freedom for the country, freedom for the people, no oppression. It means to stand up to attacks and torture without breaking, showing a strength and resilience that defies the imagination. So, according to him, so courage means to stand up to the attacks and torture of the people and without breaking. You will not bend down. Rather, you will stand straight, fight the tortures, and you will show a strength and resilience that defies the imagination. And for him, what is courage? It is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. So, this is an important question. Next, which does he think is natural, to love or to hate? Yes, to love is natural to Mandela, as man is not born to hate others because of skin color or background. On the basis of skin color and background, man is not born, and no man is born to hate others because of the skin color and background of the person. Rather, love comes naturally to human heart than its opposite, that is hate. And the next part, what twin obligations does Mandela mention? Mandela mentions twin obligations of everyone's life. So he says that everybody has these two obligations, and one is for the family, one is to the family, his parents, his wife and children, and the second obligation is to his people, community and his country. And okay, I haven't. So these are the twin obligations he talks about. Now question number 2. What did being free mean to Mandela as a boy and as a student? How does he contrast these transitory freedoms with the basic and honorable freedom? So let's see what he talks about. As a boy, freedom meant something else for him. So when he was a child, he was a boy. So freedom meant to obey the rules of the tribe, to run in the fields which was near his house, swim in the clear water of the stream, roast meals, cook meals under the stars, and ride on the bulls, which were quite, he understood that these were not freedom, rather illusions. Okay, but for him as a boy, all this meant to be free. And when he became a student, when he started a life of a student, so freedom, the concept of freedom changed for Mandela, and it was only for himself. So freedom for Mandela was only for himself, to stay out at night, read whatever he liked or pleased, and go where he chose or wanted. But gradually he understood that these were only transitory freedoms, they were not permanent. So for a student, like him, freedom meant all these things. So as a boy, the meaning of freedom was quite different, and finally he understood these were only illusions, imaginary, they were not permanent. And as a student, the meaning of freedom was quite different, but he contrasted his freedom to stay out night and read and just go wherever he wanted, and which were the transitory freedoms, with the basic and honorable freedom. And what was that basic and honorable freedom? That achieving his potential, earning his living, or to be free to earn his livelihood, marry the person of his choice, and start a family or have a family. So these were the freedom which were basic and honorable freedom. Okay, so he gives different concept of freedom here. In the first paragraph, he talks about the freedom as a boy. In the second paragraph, he talks about the freedom as a student, and which were transitory freedoms. And then he talks about the basic and honorable freedom of a man, of an adult, and it was like achieving his potential, earning his livelihood, and marrying the person of his choice, and having a family. So these were the concept of freedom. But later on, what happens when he understood that these were not the freedom, and rather he became hungry for the freedom of the country, for the people, and he joined the ANC, African National Congress, and he devoted his life for the country and the freedom of its people. 3 number, Does Mandela think the oppressor is free? Why or why not? No, Mandela doesn't think the oppressor is free. He says both the oppressor and the oppressed. Oppressor means the person who takes away the freedom of others, and the oppressed is the victim whose freedom is taken away. I hope the words are clear to you. That Mandela says that the oppressor is not free. Okay, Mandela doesn't think the oppressor is free. And why? He is in chains. He is a slave. He is a prisoner of what? Hatred. Because the oppressor who takes away the freedom, he tortures others, he is also prisoner. Prisoner of what? He is inside the locks of, and he is locked in his that feeling of hatred. He is enslaved by the prejudice and narrow mindedness. The person who oppresses the oppressor is a prisoner, and he is locked behind the bars of prejudice and narrow minded. So the person is filled with prejudice and narrow mindedness. So Mandela says that the oppressor who takes away others' freedom is also robbed of his own humanity. Okay, so the person who is taking the freedom of others is also at that time when he takes the freedom of other people, he himself is robbed. His humanity is taken away. He is no longer a human being. He becomes inhuman. So the oppressor is not at all free. He is also a prisoner of hatred, narrow-mindedness, prejudice, and he is robbed. He is taken. His humanity is taken away from him when he tortures others. So this is all about the question answers, and the next one I'll send the PDF and we will start the new chapter.